Hey y'all, let's go ahead and get started. I think we'll have a few more folks drift in as we usually do, but we'll go ahead and get started so we get to touch base on everything. One quick announcement before we start. The Brotherhood of St. Andrew is asking that you make sure that today is one of the very last days to purchase tickets for the shrimp boil. They're $20 each. You can buy them on Realm by Wednesday, but I guess today is the last day to buy them in person, so just so you know for that. Now to our program. Franklin Ingram is our speaker today. Franklin, are you in Fulton or DeKalb? I always forget. DeKalb. Franklin works in the district attorney's office for DeKalb County and focuses on crimes against seniors. And I have asked him to come because we've experienced here, and I think people are experiencing everywhere, a lot of phishing scams and fraud scams and attempts at theft and all kinds of things that are really just abusive and terrible. And a lot of them are happening online. So I asked him to come and speak. A lot of y'all might recognize Franklin. He and his then fiance and now wife Melika started attending here during COVID. So they first got to know the parish out there, I think, right? And then I had the honor of doing their premarital counseling and then officiating at their wedding. And they are now the proud parents of a little daughter named Margot. And sadly, they have left us for the wilds of Buckhead to worship at some place called St. Philip's. I don't know what that's about, but we'll leave that between him and God. No, I'm really grateful to Franklin for coming. It'd be really good if y'all could to move up. These slides are on our biggest TV, but they may not be terribly visible, and they'll be good reminders of what he's telling you. So if you can, feel free to slide on up. And let's welcome Franklin Ingram.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Like Father Greg said, I work in the DA's office for, if you live in DeKalb, your district attorney, Sherry Boston. I've been a prosecutor for 9 years, first in Fulton County, and I've been in DeKalb for 5 or 6 years. And I'm in a unit called Crimes Against Elderly Persons and Adults with Disabilities. So all of our victims are either elderly, which in Georgia, that's legally it's above 65 for our statute. We have some special laws for people who commit crimes against the elderly. And we also prosecute people who have hurt or defrauded adults that have disabilities. So that's all we do. We're considered part of the Special Victims Unit because our victims are unique in that way. So we have a lot of different crimes that we prosecute. I would say our fraud and like white collar type crimes are probably about 20% of our cases, and the rest are unfortunately violent crimes against the elderly. A lot of times that's family members, and somebody's grandson will have a disability and hurts grandfather or grandmother. But not going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about all the ways that you can get scammed, which unfortunately there are lots of different unique ways. I know that Holy Trinity had somebody become a victim to an internet email scam. I'm going to talk about that type of crime. And I'm also going to talk about all the other interesting ways that criminals have come up with. Can everybody hear me okay? All right, thank you. And I'll try to be interactive. If you see something that applies to you or somebody that you know, just raise your hand and we can talk about it. And I'll try to finish, it is at 10:15? I'll try to finish 5 or 10 minutes early so we can do some questions. It's like kind of It's okay. I can still do it. Okay. So, criminals specifically target the elderly. Anyone have any ideas about why that is? Easy victims. That's one way to put it. In a more sympathetic way, trusting. The elderly are less adept with technology because they didn't grow up with it the way young guys like Father Greg did. I'm just kidding. But millennials like me or Gen Z, our whole lives are on the computer and have been for a while, and the elderly are less likely to spot. I think with the email situation, an email that might look exactly like Father Greg's unless you really, really stare at it. And they also typically have money saved, whereas somebody who is in their 20s may have $500 in their bank account. So that doesn't make for a very good victim. Somebody who's retired hopefully has saved money for retirement, so they have some sort of nest egg that people are trying to get at, which is horrible, of course. But the slide's a little cut off. Some of the methods, most common methods we see for fraud are phone calls, unexpected texts or emails, online dating, and we have a bad case right now with an elderly guy who got defrauded of about $200,000. Being approached in public, it could be at church, could be at a restaurant, could be in a parking lot. I have a new case in a parking lot. Strangers knocking on your door and offering services that sound too good to be true. That's kind of be the thing I emphasize the most. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. And if you win the lottery, great. But you can go and check and see, did I really win the lottery? If somebody comes to your house and says, oh, you usually pay $5,000 to get your roof done, whatever, I'll do it for $2,000, but you gotta pay me $1,000 first. That's not gonna be a real thing. They're never gonna come back, and you're not gonna have a new roof. So, it's too good to be true. It is. I'll probably say that 15 more times, just so if you remember one thing from this, it's that. Thanks. Go ahead. So, there's 3 different common elements that we have for scammers that they use. Emergency, it has to be now, right now, I need the money right now, or you're going to miss out. Emotion, fear. We have a real common scam that involves, we'll get to it on another slide, but people pretending to be someone who's in jail, and then they contact the grandparents and say, I'm in the cell right next to your grandson, we got to get him out. So, fear, love, that's the dating scam, excitement, and of course, secrecy, which is you've won this big prize and don't tell anyone because we don't want anyone to know. That's a good sign that you're probably going to be scammed if you fall for it. You go next slide. Look-alike stores. People, and this is similar to the scam that one of the parishioners fell for. People will create emails that look like they're from Target. They look like they're from Amazon or these big national companies, but if you look closely, it will be a little bit off. And it will say, the scams frequently say things like, you're such a loyal Target customer, and we want to give you $500 in gift cards, but you have to give us $100 first. Anything where someone's telling you, you got to give us money to get your prize or get your reward, it's just not real. No legitimate companies do anything like that, unless it's like a membership service. Which even with those, I would be very careful before you want to sign up for a membership. You always want to, if you're nervous at all that this looks too good to be true, you want to call someone from from the website, the 800 number, and make sure that this is legitimate. And when you're on Facebook, for instance, if you see something that pops up that says, you know, Walmart, we're giving you this big prize, don't click on the link from Facebook to go to Walmart if you shop at Walmart. Go to Google, type in Walmart, go to the first thing that pops up, or just go to walmart.com. Don't follow links to get to the websites of companies that you frequently use. Can't see what the bottom, what's that bottom line say?
You could be a victim of credit card fraud.
Right. And that's how they're trying to get a hold of you. Usually trying to get your debit card. They like debit cards more than credit cards because they can withdraw, you know, thousands of dollars, and when it's gone, it's gone. Hopefully your bank will reimburse you, but it's not like a credit card. Or a credit card will just say, nope, we see this as fraud, and unfortunately with debit cards, they don't have the same protection. You go to the next slide. Okay. These are pretty common. I actually get these text messages all the time. Have y'all ever gotten a text where it says you missed your USPS delivery, you missed your UPS delivery? Just ignore all of that. You'll get these little, I get these all the time at work that say, you know, we tried to deliver your package, but we were unable to deliver your package. We need you to contact us immediately. That's going to always be fake. You know, UPS, USPS, FedEx, if they can't deliver something, they're going to leave you a little sticker that says that. So don't rely on just getting a random message telling you, you know, we couldn't get in touch with you. So always verify, you know, if you're tracking your package, as some people do, you can see whether or not it was delivered. Anything unexpected, you should just be very, very, very skeptical of. Right, especially if it says something like you need to, you know, authorize the delivery with an additional payment or anything like that. That is almost certainly going to be fraud. Gift card scans, and I think, Father Greg, I don't remember the exact specifics, but I think that's sort of what happened at the church.
About at least 4 times that we know of.
Okay. So, if anyone ever tells you can make payment by buying a gift card and handing us over the gift card, that's not legitimate. No legitimate company or charity or any service is going to let you pay with a gift card. Criminals really love gift cards because once they have it, it's just cash, it's just money, they can go spend it at any store. So if they get a hold of a $500, $1,000 gift card, even once it's determined that it was fraud, the gift card is still going to be valid. So as soon as they get their hands on those type of things, you know, they're done. It's not like a credit card where something can be canceled. It's just cash that can be used. Right. Don't go to. If you really want to get a gift card, go buy it in person. And still, I just can't think of any legitimate reason someone would want to be paid with a gift card for anything. I'm trying to think of a situation where that might come up, but it's really not something that happens in the real world. You can go to the next one. Fake emails. Well,
can you repeat the question or comment?
She asked why you should save your receipt for a gift card. I mean, the only reason you would do that is just to create a record that you purchased it, in case that so law enforcement can try to prosecute the case. There would at least be a record of where you purchased it from, and you know that could be good evidence later for the police. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Right, that's a good point. Because you can have a record of the gift card and you can see which purchases are being made with it. You can, if you do it the way you're supposed to, you can log in and check the balance, especially if you're giving it to people. Do you have a question? No. Oh, okay, sorry. We sort of already talked about emails. Be on the lookout for fake emails. And what I think happens at the church is they will make, Father Greg's email might be gregorytalent@htp.com or .org. They will create a new email that might say gregory.talent@htp.1.org. So when you see that, you immediately think, oh, the priest is reaching out to me, this must be important. But that's how they recreate emails that make people susceptible to fraud. And if it makes you feel any better, I have, not that you need to feel better, but I don't know if y'all heard about what happened in Fulton County with their whole entire computer system was ransomware, and almost the entire county could not use email or access their remote files and things of that nature. So of course, DeKalb County, they've stepped up a lot of our security, and they send out these fake phishing emails that'll say, please click on this link to take a look at your tax status or your potential tax refund from the county. But they weren't real scammers. The county was doing it. And I clicked on one of them as the person who's supposed to be the fraud person. And they could see when I clicked it, and I had to go through a training. And so, even me, the fraud prosecutor, has fallen for it. So they're very...
Can I tell
either
either now or later kind of...
This is probably a good time. This is the email slide.
Yeah. So, Franklin mentioned that we'd had one case. We've actually had at least 4 that I know of. And kind of like he was saying about, it's not just one type of person. I actually was... I was showing around last week a young woman in her maybe early 30s who works for the Living Church, hosts a podcast, puts on conferences, very, young and with it, and she fell for one of these too, kind of same type thing. The people here don't look alike in terms of age or anything else, but they get that email, it looks like mine, it's close to it, and by the way, I've heard this from clergy all over the place. It's not a Holy Trinity thing. It's churches everywhere. And, they say, hey, I need your help. This is Greg. I need your help with something sensitive. We don't want to cause a fuss. We don't want to embarrass anybody. And then it's somebody getting cancer treatments or somebody who's just had a baby or whatever. They need some help. Could we get some gift cards for them? And then as it, and then it unfolds, and then they want you to give the number via email because I'm in a meeting and I can't get over there right now. And it all sounds silly when I say it like this, but it's, you guys are here because you are trying to love your neighbors as yourselves, and you're trying to help people, and God bless you when your clergy asks for help. You want to be helpful and all of these things. But this is where it all gets preyed on. And one of our victims said, Father Greg, I heard you say that over and over, but it just sounded so much like you.
They're pros. They're pros.
Right, they're keeping at it because it's working and because they're good at it. And then another person is is actually in communication. He's like a muck in a communications field. Fell for it. A lawyer fell for it. There's no shame in it, but it preys on us where we are trying to be helpful. So anyway, this had to vent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
They did that with me, and finally I was getting really involved and said I'd be in on Friday to get the gift card to work on the Greg, and he said, it's a scam. So the guy asked me, he said, where were you? I was supposed to meet you on Friday, and I said, I went to the church and gave you the gift cards.
Is that the end of it? Yeah. So they'll try to scare you into clicking things. They're going to say your account may be closed if you don't, pay this penalty from last month. And you're thinking, I don't remember the penalty, but people who do these sort of higher level scams, like Father Greg said, I mean, it's what they do all day, every day. They know how to manipulate people, and they're skilled at it. It's not, like somebody grabbing your purse or breaking into your car. These are people who are more sophisticated. So don't feel bad. Just don't let it happen again and protect yourself. I talked about the contests. I don't think I've ever randomly won anything in my entire life. So if you get an email that says you won $500, you owe us, well, it's more likely to be, you won $10,000, give us $500 to retrieve it. There aren't really any legitimate, I'll just say there aren't any legitimate contests where you have to give them money to collect your prize. You may have to pay taxes later, but you don't have to, especially if you haven't entered into any contest, you haven't won anything. Sounds too good to be true. It is. Go ahead. These happen around, I think the last time I did this presentation was around Christmas. There are scams where someone will contact from a company and they're offering this, let's say, oh, you can come work at Macy's, 20 hours a week, and we're going to pay you 4 times as much as we usually pay people, and by the end of the Christmas season, you will have made $15,000. But they want money up front. It's the same deal. Just money up front, never pay money up front. If they say you just have to take our short class, but it costs $1,000, but you're going to get $20,000 by the end of the job. Don't ever pay for any training. If you want to work part-time, great, but go talk to someone in person. Always verify everything that you receive on the internet. And even if it sounds too good to be true, but it looks like it's from your grandchild, call your grandchild. Don't think, oh, I trust my grandson, and he wants me to come work with him at Macy's, and I just have to do this training. Just give him a call or her a call and see if it's legit. It is not legit. So I'm just gonna say, but keep verifying. Next slide, thank you. Fraudulent charities. Again, this happens around the holidays a lot of times. You'll get an email from Red Cross, and they've completely duplicated what a Red Cross email looks like. The way they do this is they just sign up for the listserv, and they somehow figure out who's giving, and then they'll recreate the emails to make it look exactly like a Red Cross email. Which I assume, if you go on the Holy Trinity's website, you can sign up for updates, right?
Yeah.
And that's how most organizations operate. So the fraudsters sign up for the updates. They create what looks like, an exact replica of what a normal email from that company or group might look like. If you really want to give money, especially if you see a charity you've never heard of, that's probably not going to be legitimate. But you can go and look at the Better Business Bureau webpage and see if the organization actually exists. And there's also lots of there's lots of good webpages where you can see how much money am I giving to this charity, actually goes to the cause, and how much goes to the CEO of the charity, and things like that. But if you really want to give, you're feeling generous, Red Cross, Doctors Without Borders, UNICEF, companies that you've heard of. Those are the places you should research, and then if you want to give money. Or you can donate to the church, of course. And when you're looking at the website, if there are punctuation errors, misspellings, that's going to be maybe someone who doesn't speak English that well is trying to replicate the website and has made mistakes. That's a big red flag. Do y'all know about GoFundMe? That organization? Okay. So really want to research those. Fraudsters use GoFundMe all the time. They'll create some horrible sob story, and our goal is $20,000 because someone's died and you need to pay for the funeral, or there's this life-saving treatment that will save my brother, and we just can't afford it. So Google it, research the person who's hosting the GoFundMe. Just always do the background work. You can go next slide.
What's the contact information?
I'm sorry, they've gotten. Go back.
Oh, sorry. That one?
Contact information? For what?
So, you said you're cautious, so what's the red flag about contact?
Oh, that it doesn't, that website doesn't have contact information.
Oh, right.
No, but if you get an email also with contact, what I do, like I'll get a Comcast email, but it's Comcast at BG Fishing. I mean,
Right.
but it's got someone's name, and you think, well, that's not the company, that. But look at okay. This is if you get
Right.
something from them.
So, yes, if you get an email that looks suspicious and the contact information, like you said, is a strange looking email or is not the same contact information when you just go to the regular website and somebody's trying to scam you. This grandparent scam is becoming more and more common, and it's really infuriating what they're doing to people. But basically, someone will pretend that they are in the jail. They'll call grandparents and they'll say, either they'll say, I'm with your grandson or granddaughter in the jail, they're right next to me, or they'll say, I've been, make their voice sound strange, say, I've been in a horrible car accident, I had a little bit to drink, but I wasn't drunk, and somebody got really hurt, and don't tell mom and dad. That's what they always say. Don't tell mom and dad. I don't want them to know that I got in trouble, but I really didn't do anything wrong, so I need you to bail me out. I can't stay in the DeKalb County Jail, or I can't stay in the Fulton County Jail. And if you don't give me the money, I don't know what's going to happen to me. And they'll say, call this number and give them $5,000 so I can get out of jail. And it works. People don't answer their phones. People will try to call their grandchild. They don't get in touch with them. They'll text them. Maybe they don't hear from them, and they're so anxious and nervous that somebody they care about is in custody in the jail that they just pay the money, and then find out later, they weren't in jail at all. Now $10,000, $5,000. But that's usually where I've seen where it's worked, is where they haven't, somebody hasn't answered the phone to verify that it's them, then they're not in jail. And then grandma, granddad, they get nervous, they pay the money. Obviously, if you get a call like that, it's really jarring for people to get a phone call like that, and they get really upset, and they're not acting rationally, and before it's too late, and they've already given money to somebody. But definitely call them. Don't pay them. That's not how you pay a bond anyway. You don't, call a 1-800 number and give them your credit card information. You usually have to go to the jail or you have to go to one of the licensed bail bond companies. Never gonna pay a bond or bail over the phone.
Running, start good.
Oh, okay. How many slides do I have?
17.
Oh, God. Yeah, I think the last time I did this, it was a 90-minute presentation. So I'll go fast. IRS scams. The IRS does not call you. That is not what they do. They send a lot of letters, and they tell you to call them. And they do that specifically so people don't give money to scammers. But the IRS, I've gotten those messages that say, you know, you have a warrant for your arrest unless you pay your overdue tax bill. And people get scared. Go ahead, next slide. We talked about that. Next slide. This is still pretty common. It's not like a technology scam, but you'll be in a department store, someone will come up to you, try to distract you and say, what do you think of this shirt? Do you think my mom would like this shirt? While they're doing that, somebody is reaching in your purse or reaching in your car and grabbing your purse. So be friendly, be nice, but be careful. Go ahead. We already sort of talked about that. You know, when you get a text, you know, it's just not likely someone's going to text you and demand money. So just always verify. The government it's never going to text you. I mean, you might get a text that says, do you want a free COVID test? But they're never going to text you and say, give us money or else. That's just, the government knows that that's how scammers operate. So it's all telephone and going directly to their website. Next slide. Home repair scams. These are really awful and really make me angry. I kind of alluded to it at the beginning. One of the cases I had was, there was this couple, I think they're in Brookhaven or Dunwoody, and somebody shows up at your door, they say, how much do you usually pay for this pine straw? And they give a price that happened to you? Yeah, it's the pine straw one for some reason is an easy scam. They'll say, oh, you pay, you know, $2,000 for all these bales of pine straw. They had a really big yard. And they're like, well, I'll do it for $500. And in the last case that I had, I mean, it was a couple. They separated the wife from the husband because she was older. And when it's all done, you know, there's these 4 big guys, and now they're in the house. They've done the pine straw. They actually did the pine straw. And she says, oh, it's supposed to be $350. And then they start to look real intimidating. And it's, oh no, it's $3,500. That's what we told you from the beginning. You've already agreed to it. The pine straw's out here. You gotta pay me. And people, you know, they get scared. They're vulnerable. And they pay the money. So that's a common one. Investment fraud, we've already talked about that. If somebody's guaranteeing you some rate of return that sounds crazy, it is crazy. And you know, they're gonna say, give us X amount of money, and you're gonna be guaranteed to make $100,000 profit within the next 3 months. It's just not real, and don't fall for it. It's too good to be true. Yes, sir.
The way they start with that, they will first and foremost say invest $1,000.
Right.
You'll make X amount. And generally, they will make you make that money and put it back to your account.
Mm-hmm.
And they go now for the bigger amount, invest this amount. And once they're coming, forget about it.
Yeah. Computer repair scams, someone will pretend to be Microsoft or Apple. They'll say, you know, your computer's got all these viruses on it. Sometimes the really savvy ones, they can lock down your computer, and they'll call you and say, you want access to all your photos, and blah, blah, blah. You gotta give us access. And once you give them access, and they're inside of your computer remotely, they can access all of your different accounts and all of your email. They can make it where you can't see your screen, and and they're inside, you know, getting all your passwords, logging into your bank accounts, and just taking anything that they can. Romance scams. And I'll tell you a little bit about this. This is an open case we have. There's a guy in Pennsylvania, engineer, really smart guy. I think he's in his early 70s, and he thought that he had a Swedish girlfriend in Sweden, tall, blonde, in her 30s, and you know, she did this scam. Well, it's probably a he, honestly. And he, you know, he thought that she was moving to America. She said, you know, I can't leave yet. My mom is sick. I need to pay these hospital bills, and I can't afford it. I think the guy, in the end, he's lost almost $200,000. And you know, it's easy to say, you know, who would fall for that? But people are lonely, and you know, they have this nest egg, and they're thinking, well, this is worth it. I have a 30-year-old supermodel girlfriend. And it sounds crazy, but it's sad, and there's really not that much we can do about it. I mean, we found someone who was operating a business that some of the money was running through, and you know, that guy's been arrested and charged, but the money's gone. You know, that guy's not going to come up with $200,000, probably. It's in Russia or China already, and you're not going to be able to get the money back.
I'm just going to say, we've had multiple cases of this here in the parish.
Really?
I mean, not those amounts of money, but this kind of issue.
Yeah.
So it happens
It's
here.
very common.
Yeah.
Next slide. Okay, how can you protect yourself? Look out for the red flags. Never deposit money into someone else's account. Never respond to anyone who says they need a check to cash. Never put any money in crypto to send to someone. Like I said at the beginning, if it has to be a secret, if it's an emergency, it's not real. You know, Target has plenty of money, and they're not going to need you to act now. You know, they're not running out of money. So, Walmart, Target, I keep saying those two because those are common ones that they manipulate and use their websites to try to look like that. I don't know how to use cryptocurrency, but you know, a lot of the scammers try to get people to pay money for crypto because basically you can't trace it at all. Go ahead. Just hang up. You know, I think from what I've learned in this position is the elderly are more likely to stay on the phone because they think it's rude to hang up the phone. Which, you know, I was probably taught some of that now, but you know, I don't even answer unknown numbers anymore. I don't think a lot of people do. But if somebody gets you on the phone, they want to keep you on the phone, and it's somebody you've never met or heard from, just say no thank you, hang up the phone, especially if they're threatening you and rushing you to make some urgent decision. Yes?
So there's a thing that's going around in our neighborhood that people said that, you know, I never answer the phone, I don't know what the number is, but people say that it'll save your power because they can manipulate the
Right.
the phone, and then they'll get a phone call, and people in our neighborhood are calling for that one too.
Yeah.
It's a scam.
Right.
But just, you know, just be aware that sometimes they can be manipulated, so it looks like they can put a call ID in there.
Right. And you know, if you forget to pay your power bill, Georgia Power is going to send you plenty of letters. They're not going to let you not notice that because they want to warn you many times before they cut off your power. Next slide. Guard your information. Don't ever give out your account numbers on the phone. Definitely don't give out your social security number to anyone. It's just, I try to never write my social security number down on even a piece of paper for someone. You know, it's like, why does the dentist need your social security number? That's always bothered me. It's like, you don't need that to be able to send me a bill. I know they want to, like, for people who don't pay, they want to put it on their credit and things like that. But I always, at all costs, try to avoid giving anyone my social security number. Check your bank statements at the end of the month. If you find anything where, you know, unauthorized transactions, and you file a complaint, don't wait in the meantime, keep using the card. Usually the credit card companies are pretty good about that now, but immediately shut off your credit card if you see anything suspicious, or just open a new account. And if you don't report it immediately, they might not reimburse you for it. So if you see something suspicious, just don't wait. Just go ahead and call the credit card company or your bank. There is a do not call registry out there if you're getting a lot of spam. This used to be more effective. They're just so good at generating fake numbers now, but I do think that it helps a little bit. So if you want to put your cell phone on that or your house phone, you can do that. I can give you that when we're done if you want it. These are, and I can send this to Bob Greg too, but these are some of the organizations that help people. Senior Legal Hotline, they give advice, free advice to the elderly. Adult Protective Services, that's for really, they deal more with abuse and neglect, but they also deal with exploitation as well. And the Better Business Bureau, those are some of the places that can help you. But, you know, if you really suspect it's a crime, you can call the police. And maybe not the 911 number, but if you think you're being defrauded, that would be, if it's something's already happened, I would recommend that you call like your local police precinct. Next. Good, everyone knows about 911. All right, I did about 45 minutes in the last 15 minutes. All right. That's it, and let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Okay, you go ahead.
In DeKalb, if you're prosecuting, you got 100 charges against folks, 100 different people. How many are convicted, and then what percentage of those are you able to recover anything?
Repeat the question.
It's asking of the people we charge how many are convicted and if we recover any money. So usually if we charge someone, it's very likely that we will have a conviction. It's more of the people that we can't figure out who do it that are frustrating. You know, a lot of times the money is the most important thing. And, you know, say somebody pulled a $20,000 roof scam on you. What's more important to you, your $20,000 or that they are on probation for 5 years? So a lot of times, you know, we will just try to get the money back in exchange for dismissing a case. I'd say that's a small amount because usually people don't have the money. But if we think we can get the money back, a lot of times that's more important. So we kind of use the case as leverage. You know, if somebody shows up with a $20,000 check, it's hard to say, okay, thank you, and we want you in prison for 2 years. Most of our big convictions for elder stuff are the violent crimes. We have some sexual assault too. But there's a lot of people that operate these really shoddy personal care homes that aren't licensed. Those are some of our bigger crimes. For all it's hard to prosecute, and unfortunately, the sentences are not usually what we want. Because there's so many violent crimes in the DeKalb, and then you go in front of the judge and you say, you know, this is what we want 5 years to serve, and there's some and they have 10 murder cases that they're trying to get to, you know, they just want to move the cases along. And we do as much as we can to get good sentences for people.
I don't know whether you've addressed it, but just an input. Now they try to hack your phone, and you do not have access to your phone.
Right.
If you have something like WhatsApp on your phone, somebody will be able to see your phone information, your WhatsApp information, and they will call you. Say, for example, Holy Trinity as a church, we have a WhatsApp group. Somebody might hack somebody's phone, and they start calling everybody in that group. And they will ask you for a code that is sent to your phone. If you give them that code, they will lock your phone. They will have access to your phone. You will not have access to your phone.
Yeah, that's kind of the way they do it with the computer. Second theory.
And most times you get these emails, like you were saying, you've won whatever. If you open those emails, your email is gone. So I just want to put that in.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you open your email, you don't have access to it anymore. Sorry. Yeah, that's it.
Go ahead, Kinga.
So for example, if I had a credit card, you know, unauthorized charges or something like that, maybe 5 or 10, maybe $800 total, you know, contact the credit card company, they reimburse me and everything okay. But should something like this, not a huge amount, like $10,000, but should we report to police? It may be just one thing, or the you know, police may know there's a serial cases,
Right.
and so do as your, you know, for your point of view, do you want to know those little bitty things, or you can't handle those small cases, or what's your advice?
Her question was basically if you're reimbursed, should you care if law enforcement is going to get involved? My advice to that would be, if it's something where you feel like you know where the fraud may have occurred, like I was at this gas station 2 minutes ago and now I have, you know, I scanned my card, you know, I think that would be worth calling like your local police department. I don't, you know, I've always wondered what the credit card companies do. I think for them it's just easier to try to get the money back and move on. I don't think they do a lot with law enforcement unless it's over some huge amount of money. But I mean, most of the fraud, honestly, if it's just all of a sudden I'm getting defrauded and it has nothing to do with anything, then I would like to tell you, yes, let's prosecute it, but you know, the police are probably not going to do much with that, unfortunately. And it's not much they can do, you know.
Franklin, do you mind if I say something?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll let y'all get back to questions. But two things that I was just thinking about that maybe we could do. One is for this group here and for others, you could have a little accountability partner. You know, like when something starts to come up, and these scammers are good at making you think, right? It's got to happen now. You can't tell anybody. Like if you could just have one person that you would call each other in a moment, like, you know, Kay and Allison decide, if anything ever smells fishy, I'm going to call Allison or I'm going to call Kay and just get an outside, you know, person. Because from the outside, you can usually see it so much easier than when somebody's pulling the scam on you. The second thing is, all of us here got in our cars and came here this morning, and yet we're all in relationships with people who are often homebound or whatever, or you know, or starting maybe at a different age of elder life, where you're a little more vulnerable, a little more restricted. And if we could reach out to our friends and loved ones and offer, like, please, you know that you can always call me and ask me or whatever, because I think especially those folks are even more vulnerable. So I just think about who that might be in your life.
That's true.
All right, and these guys.
So do you have like a checklist, if someone has clicked on a link that they shouldn't have, or have given out information that they could, that not lost any money yet, but they realize and say, okay, you've compromised. Is there a checklist of what you need to do to build that firewall between what you've given out and how they can get to you?
I mean, really, most of what you can, unfortunately, they're pretty savvy. Second, I mean, most of what you can do is just get a new credit card. That's really about it. If they've gotten into your actual bank account, the bank will give you a new account number typically. You know, that's common.
But if you've given out information, maybe your social security number, but you've given out your name, your
Right.
address, and maybe your birthday and stuff like that. I mean, you shut down you freeze your credit, is there a checklist of things that a person needs to monitor or be aware of that these people will go at?
Yeah. I mean, you can't change your name and birthday, but you know, it's really just, I haven't, you know, my mom had very bad ID fraud before the banks got better at it. And, I mean, she had to freeze her credit for almost a decade. Some of it was just her, you know, out in the United States, just using her identity for years. So yeah, you can ask that happen. You can ask that the bank freeze your checking account, savings account. Usually it's credit cards and debit cards these days. You know, if they get access to your checking account, I mean, they're not going to wait long. They're going to get as much as they can before they get caught. And the bank will typically give you a new number. But yeah, they will still freeze your account. We freeze people's accounts sometimes to try to keep their assets so we can take them later for defendants. So, you know, one good thing is like the banks and credit card companies have gotten a lot better at detecting fraud and reimbursing people. And that's why they've come up with all these workarounds, like the gift cards, and the jail scams, and the, you know, and then they act as quickly as they can to just get as much money out as they can. Sorry, that's not the best answer, but there's only so much you can do, really.
I had an episode of my identity fraud about 7 years ago, and all of a sudden I was receiving all these cards from different stores, credit cards, thanks for coming with us at
Right.
Macy's and all too.
Yeah.
And I knew I had not done that, and I was on the phone immediately. They always already had charged it up to the limit.
Right.
I don't know that I ever got there to shoot, but anyway.
Yeah.
At the same time, I started immediately to contact each of these credit card companies, which wasn't an easy process in itself. But I stayed on that and also froze my credit. Real quick to it, I mean, it all went away after a point, but I still have all of that documentation. Is there a time limit or time frame that I should maintain that, just to have that with me in case?
Well, I mean, I would probably keep it forever. And you can also just, you know, if you have access to a scanner, if you don't want to keep all the paperwork, just scan it and save it to your computer, or have someone do that for you if you don't have a scanner. I mean, that's what I do with stuff. Is when I don't want to keep tons of paperwork, I just figure out a way to get it online.
Let's wrap up here if we can, and then give maybe some time if you want to come talk to Franklin one-on-one for a couple of minutes. Is that all right?
Yeah.
All right. Franklin, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.